Give like a little overview of like the heater setup that I got going on here in the garage. So this is a 20 by 25 metal garage, non-insulated on the top. I got the soffit sealed off with 1-inch foam board, and this is a 2 garage opening here, so it had no door. And I added one of those little insulated garage door blanket things off Amazon and a 3.5 millimeter sheet of drop cloth plastic, just because like that does good with the insulation value of not having nothing at all, obviously, but it does a lot like breeze through, let air permeate into here, which obviously on windy days does not help with the cooling. So that's what that plastic sheet is there for. And then there's just, little magnets, little neo magnets taped to the side to keep it, drawn kind of tight to the garage itself. So as far as the heaters, these are the 8 kilowatt Vevor Chinese versions of, I'm sure, more expensive units. There's 2 of them. They're rated for 27,000 BTUs each. So calculated heat loss without like how this garage is. There is no insulation on the roof yet. I do have some bubble foil insulation here that I'm going to put up and stretch along the purlins. It's going to add a 2-inch air gap. So it'd be like R6 or so, but it's just kind of help, all the heat wants to rise, obviously, because it's A-frame, and just wants to leave the top because there is no insulation value on sheet metal roof, right? Like maybe a 0.6 or something like that. So I have this little fan over here that helps to circulate the hot air because, hot air rises, and it helps a lot with the cold spots that will develop without it. I have a torpedo heater down here of the 80 to 110,000 BTU variety. Obviously, you're not supposed to burn those indoor long term. That thing will absolutely make it a damn oven in here, and it just pisses through the fuel. So I used this last season. I burned kerosene for obviously the smell. It's a lot better with kerosene, but at $7 a gallon, this thing will burn through 5 gallons of it in a day. These right here will burn through, if you have them pretty much turned up, which you don't have to. You might have to use this to spot heat, and these will maintain. So I haven't had to really ever turn that on after maybe the first 10 minutes of coming in here and it being 45 degrees, and I want to maintain around 60, right? So turn this on for about 10 minutes, let it warm it up, and then these will maintain the temperature even with the lack of insulation. I do have some spray foam that I've used, to seal off, where the standing seams of the roof and stuff are at like that. Not the prettiest job, but that'll all be covered up with the insulation soon enough. But let me kind of explain to you like the power thing, because these are, 12 volts. Some of them are 120 volts, but they're just using converters anyway. So with power wise here, just got a little Amazon special 120 volt to 12 volt converter, inverter, whatever you'd like to call it. I'm not exactly off the top of my head sure what the correct term is. I'm pretty sure it sounds like a dumbass. But either way, that's a 50 amp variety. But because I run this whole garage off of a 12 gauge extension cord, off of a 15 amp breaker, which not great. I have the tendency to pop breakers, and then I also have my air compressor off the back set of outlets. So that thing being as quiet as it is, I'll trip this shit all the time. So to prevent the heaters from short cycling, because they do have a cool down period of like 5 or 6 minutes or so, where, it runs the glow plugs and then basically cools himself down, but at the same time helps to reduce the soot and stuff that builds up from burning the diesel. I have added a Power Sport AGM battery that I never use for anything. So that helps in the sense that you can leave this on. If you disrupt power, these don't automatically die. You have a little bit of time to get the power back on, and the battery will keep them all where you're not going to constantly be short cycling them, and they apparently do not like that, right? So I'm just trying to take the most precaution I can to keep these things lasting as long as they can, because I kind of did spend a little bit of money just putting all this little shit together, right? And they've had a tendency to do ghost starts where you'll turn them off, they'll turn off, and then you'll come out here at random times, and one of them will be just full blast. And I'm like, okay, I don't really understand that, but whatever. Apparently they do it when they're disrupted from power, even though power is not disrupted out here, and there's also the battery. I don't know. They're just Chinese. What do you expect, right? So like I said, these are not the Vevor brand. I mean, the Vevor and all of them are basically the exact same with just different labels on them. I pay like $10, $15 more for these just because the customer service apparently was better from that company. They hold like a 5 liters of diesel up here, and obviously, being up here, how do you get the diesel in there? I got a little transfer pump right here, a little AA powered, and it, just fills it up, and you're good to go. So, the little AGM here powers all this when the power goes out. To prevent the ghost starts, I've added some delay relays here. So basically this is set for 600 seconds. So when you come into the garage, these would be off, and it starts your countdown for 600 seconds, which is 10 minutes, which allows these to still go through the cooldown cycle, but after 10 minutes it kills it until you come back and flip these switches, right? So now it's ready to go. This is showing power out on the relays, and they're basically, that delay relay is basically just powering these 40 amp relays right here, and we're just using terminal strip to clean a couple things up. So we got 12 volts coming in here. One side is one heater, or the other is one heater. This is a speaker wire. And then our outs puts right here, which we have conveniently labeled, which goes and powers the heaters, right? So normally the controllers are mounted on the top of these heaters right here. I have remounted them down here, obviously for ease of convenience and having everything all in one spot. And I'm charging at 13.3, which is going directly into that AGM battery, which is a decent float charge, maintaining charge for the AGM. And it's not meant to power the system long term. It's just if the power goes out, the breaker trips and you can go in and turn it back on. I have this little power meter here, which basically shows me the current being pulled and also the voltage, power, and energy that I don't really pay attention to. It's like one of them YouTube stats for nerds. That's kind of me, right? So I have this little shunt installed. It's a 100 amp shunt that's on the negative that is monitoring how much current is being pulled. And these heaters, between the both of them, will pull about 20 to 22 amps starting up with the glow plugs on and everything like that. If I hadn't mentioned already, these are the 8 kilowatt versions, which are 27,000 BTU. So you can go on ChatGPT and kind of calculate the size of what you have and the heat loss and how many you'll need. I had started with one of them. It did decently until it got colder. Now we have two of them, and as you can see, the temperature has been climbing. It started about 64 not too long ago. And like as far as fuel usage, like while that thing is great and puts out a ton of heat, you get the smell from it. You're not supposed to have it enclosed. And the smell, and it will piss through some fuel. Like you'll put 5 gallons of fuel in that thing and it'll be gone in a day. 5 gallons of fuel will last these, and I might be out here for 12 hours at a time. I can get 12 to 14 hours out of these as long as they're not maxed out. And they've been pretty good. I haven't had any issues with them, not firing, not starting up or anything other than the ghost starts. And obviously, since I do some woodworking and stuff in here, I've had like a Merv 7 or 8 little filter here just to kind of catch the bigger particulates so it doesn't go into the blower for the burn chamber, or for the blower for the air, right? You know what I'm saying? For the room air. And then these need to be exhausted outdoors. So this is just using through the whole boat exhaust adapter, I guess you'd want to call it. They do say to pull fresh air from outside. So I did have it inside at one point. The only reason now I have it going outside is just so you don't hear it. And the only thing that's kind of a nuisance with these things is the fuel pumps. You just hear the constant clicking of the fuel pump. You can wrap them in insulation and make them quiet or whatever. But I mean, for the price of them, I think they're like $110 a piece. Like the heat they put out is pretty dang good. This is 6 out of 8. If you ramp this thing up to 8, it will definitely put out some decent heat. So about 5 minutes after it turns on, it's putting out decent heat. After about 10 minutes, it's doing what it's supposed to do, right? I don't really know what else to explain besides that without getting too lengthy in a video. I don't know how many people actually want to watch a video about somebody talking about their garage heats or whatever. But I know looking for like a long-term solution or a better solution from last summer or spring or winter on how to keep this place heated to actually want to come out here and work where it's comfortable. This is the best solution that me and ChatGPT could figure out. And like starting how this all started, none of this stuff was here, so like I put the table stuff over here. I put the 8-foot LEDs in here, the little hose reel and all that stuff for the compressor, and like this little curtain stuff. You can basically on this rope pull it one way, it's like a curtain, go this way, and then the same spot you pull it the other way and it goes that way. Same thing for this little divider curtain that I have right here. I just have tension steel cable that curtain little rod holders slide on. Same thing. You can pull it from over here and the curtain extends. You can pull it the same way and it'll come back. And that's just to help when you're doing like, cutting with the saw and stuff like that, sanding or whatever, to help all the stuff from coating everything over here. It's not 100%, but it's a lot better than it was, because as soon as you leave sawdust on this stuff and it gets humid out here, it just sticks like glue and you got to wipe it all off. So that was to kind of help prevent that, and works out pretty decently. Like I said, the fan is up here just to circulate the air that collects at the top. I'll be adding the bubble foil insulation with the 2-inch purlins. I just got to take all the lights down, and it's going to be a little fun process. But either way, these heaters work pretty damn good. It's only been a few times where I've actually had to come out here and start it from cold, where I needed like a 25-degree difference, right? And I've had to turn this on for about 10 minutes or so on the lowest setting, and then these will maintain it the rest of the night. And I'm usually out here at nighttime. This is kind of like when I'm up, when I'm doing, and these do pretty dang good. I've only had to max them out one time, and that's before I added this plastic curtain right here. So if you have something similar and you don't have a door, the plastic does a lot more than you think it does. It definitely helps with the draft that was coming from this little, insulated blanket thing called Amazon. So the soffits are blocked off. The only thing is, spray painting in here, not ideal. So I'll be setting me up like a little paint area here that's all tarped off. Then I'm gonna put this little bilge fan in there for the fumes. Hopefully this little 3-inch will work. And then this little exhaust duct here. And then a little heater, this little space heater, which will maintain the temperature in there for curing when it's all done. Because obviously when I'm done, I leave these, off. And it's worked out pretty good. So if you're looking for something to heat your garage, it's, something similar like this, or even just needing one of them for, enclosed garage that's actually insulated, part of your house, whatever. These work great, just because you can actually run them indoors. That's what they're designed for, as long as they're vented outside. And then I guess we can kind of go outside and look at the exhaust themselves, and you can hear what they sound like, because they do come with mufflers to try to make the sound quieter. But I haven't, found the need, because you don't hear the exhaust outside. Like the little insulated blanket just held together with magnets. But you do hear the little sound out here. So I just have it angled here, just comes through the garage, and then I got my intake, and then I've siliconed around it. And then it's the same thing for the back here. Try not to trip on these little things that stick up. The same thing. I got a little Predator, 9500 starting 7600 inverter generator that I use when I have a lot of stuff going on at one time, because I do have an air compressor that's over here in this shed that you can't see. That anything will not run with that going on. So same thing here for the one in the back, and I just have it angled away from the intake. I don't know if it matters or not, but these have little screens and stuff on them, and I have it mounted so that the pickup won't pick any water up. And it's definitely rained a few times, and that's all I have is like soffit wise. I haven't had any water intake issues with that, and it's worked out pretty good. So spray foam, be careful with that. But yeah, I figure I'd make this video, show you guys a viable heating solution that's not going to cost $1 million in fuel like a torpedo heater, and that's going to actually be burned inside enclosed, because as you see, the soffits are blocked off, and that helps tremendously with air leakage. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I haven't made a video like this in a very long time. Don't know what even struck the urge to do it, but here's that little curtain thing here. And since this will blow around, it's basically just held in with really strong Velcro. In the winter, or not the winter, but the strong winds will blow this thing around. So I've added these little tie downs that are 17 inches long to go in the ground. Added the little gussets here, or grommets, and then obviously the carabiners, which will help with it blowing open. So there's 4 total tie down spots here, here, and here that will help keep this thing from blowing in. And then I've also got this little nylon fixed patch thing here to strengthen the where the grommets go in here, so that it doesn't rip the material. But this by itself for like 80 bucks was good, just to stop a lot of the heat loss. And then obviously, keep everything enclosed. The magnetic closure does pretty good. You can drive a car straight through it and it'll separate. And then as long as you have it set up right in terms of height, which you can see I have to do some adjustments up there, this thing will hold itself closed in even pretty decent winds. But when it does get gusty out here, I'll close it up with these carabiners and prevent it from blowing open. And then, like I said, I just added this little zipper, so you didn't have to retract this every time to get in and out. And it functions pretty good. So if you have any questions, or maybe, you know what I'm saying, got some ideas from this, appreciate a like and any comments, and y'all have a good one.